call the Town of Saratoga Board meeting into session. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. All right. Updates since the previous meeting. We'll start with the constable. Not here. We have 2 meetings this month. They only have to attend one, so I'm sure they'll be here next meeting. Building inspector. Josh is not here. Did Josh give any kind of report? No? Okay. Zoning administrator. Few things we're working on. I don't know. We'll continue with Kester Road, continuing with talking about the possibility of doing something here with the buildings, repairing or expanding or whatever we're going to do here in the town. That's at the Plan Commission level right now. Just for anybody who wants to know, the fence has come down. It looks very inviting, I think. I don't know that our police officer on the board really likes it, but I think we've gotten some feedback from the community and they like it. Going forward, we have a lot of things going on. Let's see, for the zoning, we have some storage buildings that are in the process of going in. We've had a lot of calls on the purchase of land and what they can do on their land. I think that's about it as far as the zoning administrator goes. Does anyone have any questions? I can expand on anything if anybody wants to know. It sounds like land is selling in the town of Saratoga. It's a much higher than what it was since the last time I knew. A few years ago, you could buy it for $5,000 an acre, but I'm understanding now it's around 10. Chase, you probably can lodge for that a little bit.
Yeah, that's 8 to 10 is pretty average.
Okay.
You know.
So I guess that's a good thing. Everybody's value of their properties have gone up. That's always a nice thing to hear. Hopefully your taxes won't. We're trying. We'll try to keep them down. I think that's about it. Any questions? Guys? All right, going on to the road crew, that would be Caston. He's not here, but Douglas, you are? Would you like to?
Well, I know in the shop they've been working, they had a clutch on a tractor that they had some issues with. They've been working on the broom. They're doing more maintenance at this time. Obviously patching, shoulder repairs, things like that. Top on the priorities.
Good, good. That tractor, do we know how long before that'll be back?
The tractor, it was a cable on the clutch and they're repairing it in the shop, which is very nice. Good thing. So they had the cable in today and the clutch worked well, so they're in good shape.
Awesome. That's really good to hear.
Yes, it is. I was worried that it was much more than that, but a few other things. They had a hydraulic line that was bad that they repaired, and also a muffler, things like that on the tractor. So
All in-house repairs?
they had actually partially. They had where'd they get that tractor from? Just up by Wausau. Anyway, they had a maintenance guy come down and give them some guidance on what they had to do, and they had that done. So he told them what they needed to do, and they did the repairs, which is good. We had to pay for the guy to come down. I think he was around $200 an hour. But with that being said, you didn't have to haul a tractor or do anything else. It's pretty typical for that.
Well, that's the best news I've heard for a while.
Did they say if they got anything out of the road school at all?
Yeah, they were pretty pleased with it. We didn't get into detail on it, but they were telling me about things that they've learned or seen. So good for them.
We were walking around and talking to the vendors quite a bit. So
yeah, good. That when you go to them road schools, it's more about the networking on a lot of that stuff. You're finding out what other folks are doing and how they're doing it. So for them, that's a good thing. There's no doubt. There's a lot of folks that are trying to figure out the same thing they are, and through the networking process at these schools works well.
I've always thought too, those question and answer sessions are always great, because you think you're on an island, that you're the only one that has these questions. Then you find out everybody else does too.
Believe it or not, most towns are all pretty much identical. They're just a different way they do things. And most of them do it all the same. I mean, they have the same problems you folks do. I've seen that, all the towns in Wood County, they're having the same issues, whether it's personnel, whether it's board members, whatever. That doesn't change.
It's kind of good to know we're all in the same,
Well,
same
from
boat.
what I know, from what I've seen, it's pretty close.
It's good to hear, I guess.
Same issues, they don't have enough funding.
Never have enough money. I think that's personal and professional.
Yeah.
I don't think that changes no matter where you are. All right,
Question for them.
go ahead.
Okay. Is there any more cleanup gonna be being done on the brush from the
Yeah,
tree
we talked about
trimmings?
that today. They're still working on that. As a matter of fact, they were looking at a chipper cover for one of our trucks that was in the bid process on the Wisconsin surplus.
No, it was
so-
Hanson.
Yeah, anyway, they did not get that, so they're gonna work on some other avenue to take care of that and do that. So they do know, you're talking about Ranger Road?
Well,
No,
I did.
Church Avenue and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, some of them,
Yeah.
where they had pushed it into the woods
Yeah,
and
they're working on
go in
that.
there with the forks or something and pull them back out a little
Yep.
bit, some of
Yeah,
them.
multiple roads, Kester,
Yeah.
Ranger and Church.
Yeah, I got another complaint today. I just forwarded it to Cassie.
You know, and we talked a little bit about that, when they started cleaning that up, this is the first time around the block on this.
Yeah,
They probably should have went and worked with Rome. Rome has a Bobcat with a clam
Yep.
on it. They could have worked together. And we talked a little bit about that today, so we might hear more about that in the near future if we get too far behind on that.
And I think it would be worth pursuing,
Yeah.
looking for that loader for the tractor that we.
Yeah, he's going to, one other thing Cass and I had talked about today, and Tom, is put a capital improvement plan for the shop together before the end of this month, so you can have it when your budget process
sounds
comes
great.
around. And so, we should have that by the end of the month. They are working on it, so.
Okay.
that sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we need that. You gotta have that. You gotta have a plan.
I agree.
Trucks, we should be in real good shape. Tractors seem to be good. We're, probably one thing that's gonna come forward, looking for on the red tractor, which is the oldest one, maybe a bucket, and then with a clam on it or something like that.
Yeah, those clam buckets that you can get for those are relatively inexpensive.
Yeah.
If we went with the loader or anything like that, those get really pricey.
Yeah, and I would think, we were just talking a little bit today, anywhere from $6,000 to $12,000 for something like that. So
That's
and
what-
don't quote me on that, I'm not sure, but.
With the loader attachment too, you think?
Yeah, that's what we were talking. They said they've seen some out there for that kind of.
What year is that tractor?
Not sure. The newer one's a 15, but the tractor only has, I looked at the hours today on it, it was like 4,000 or 5,000 hours.
Those older tractors, sometimes you can find a used loader uniform.
Yeah, and I think that's the way we would go, is look for.
And I don't think it would get a huge amount of use, so the used market on
Yeah.
that probably would work
Yeah.
out good.
Yeah, with a clam and maybe an attachment with a quick attach for the broom, and that way they can just hook up things as they go. It doesn't.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be part of their capital improvement plan.
All right, that sounds good. Anybody else have any more questions? Okay. All right, Plan Commission, Josh, you're up, I think.
We haven't had a plan commission meeting since our last town board meeting, but, we're working on the driveway ordinance yet. We're on draft number 6. Going through a list of goals, the plan commission has or will have for the town. Some CSMs to go over, at one in particular. And, that's about it. Some other stuff in the works, but
It's regular business, huh?
regular business, yeah.
Good. Clerk,
Nothing significant.
there was something you were gonna bring forward. Can't remember.
There's the Ticket Tailors Live
There you go.
for the electronics recycling event. So basically, the form's on the website, they can click the QR code or the link and just sign up for the different time slots. Originally, said it was full, but we got that figured out, so.
That was just a very short time. You had it figured out by the next day. She was right on top of that.
Anybody that wants to go to this has to sign up online?
Yes.
Yep.
And
Yep.
those that don't have access to the internet? how-
We will monitor that at a later date.
Okay.
So the one thing I will tell you is that this Ticket Tailor is very, very good, and it didn't cost the town anything to use. So I think it's a really good process, but just to let everybody out there know, it's only for Saratoga residents at this time.
Yep.
And we will be checking.
Do they, is there some way they check that?
We will be
with the
checking
website? We have to check that one,
when they check in,
okay,
yeah. When they check in, we'll be checking driver's licenses.
okay. Do we have something, a mechanism or some way to let them know if they are not a permanent resident, but maybe a
No.
vacation home here?
No, if they have a vacation home here, it still should be in their name, and that they
It
can
should,
register.
But the license won't necessarily.
Well, then they have to register online, that's their only options, only two.
Well, right, but if they register online, that doesn't check whether they're a resident or not.
But they should have.
But
have
when
to
they
check
come
that.
in, we will be checking, and if they are not a permanent resident, that property would still be in their name.
Okay, so it's only for permanent residents?
No, what I'm telling you is if they're a vacation resident, that land's still gonna be in their name.
Right, the land will.
Yeah.
We have people that are gonna be checking.
I will be,
Okay.
personally, I'm gonna be out
Okay.
there myself.
All right, so you'll be checking the GIS
Yep.
site or something, okay.
Yep, I'll have
All
my
right.
phone with me and check it.
That's what I wanted to make sure, is
Yeah.
that they had access to
Yeah,
that still.
what we're trying to prevent, just so everybody knows, Wisconsin Rapids had one of these, about a year ago. And they had a trail about a mile long downtown Wisconsin Rapids. And then the end of the day, they were turning people away and it caused a lot of issues. And we don't want that, and we don't want traffic backed up on the highway because they're gonna be coming right in our main drive and we're gonna circle them around in our parking lot and then have them come out on, what is that road?
Carousel Park.
Carousel Court. So hopefully that'll work out, and it should, as long as everybody follows the time slot. So, we have a plan, we'll see how it works this time. We're gonna try to do this once or twice a year, so we'll see how it works. There are restrictions on there. Can you let me, oh, I guess I got it here. What are not accepted are ballast, like out of old lights. You've seen those tube lights. They have a little ballast in there. Batteries, battery-containing devices, bulbs, lamps, capacitors, gas cylinders, ink and toner cartridges, liquids, medical and radioactive waste, medical and lab equipment, smoke detectors, and vape pens. Those are the things that are not accepted. Now, there's a list of things that are accepted, and I believe they can read that.
Yep, that's on the flyer too, what's accepted, and then there's a few things that have a charge.
Okay,
So like a vacuum cleaner was one of them that they gave as an example.
so this flyer is accessible on the Town of Saratoga, Wisconsin website. So you can look under electronics recycling events, or just recycling event,
So,
and it'll list what is acceptable and what will be charged.
so desktop printers here, do they need to remove ink cartridges and toner cartridges before they're,
Yes, because ink and toner cartridges are not acceptable.
right, but even if they're in the unit, so they.
Even if they're in the
Okay.
unit, they're not acceptable, correct. Okay, anybody else have any questions? I think we'll be bringing this up every meeting until the event, just to keep people, so one more time, maybe two, just so people are made aware. And we do have it on the sign, and I was gonna note that on the sign it's in red, maybe we should make it a lighter color, like a fluorescent green or something, because it is kinda hard to read on the red. I noticed that this morning. I forgot to say anything, I'm sorry, Paulette. And she's the one who gets the brunt of this, so she's the one who has to make the changes because nobody else can figure it out. All right, anybody else have any questions for the clerk? All right, moving on to the treasurer, Billy Joe. How was your vacation?
Very good,
Good.
thank you. Dog litters are gonna go out on Friday, Brandon has them right now and going over them and signing them. Then we'll get those out for the late dog licenses. it is a 14-day request to get in from the time that the letter is sent, the date of the letter. Gives them a little bit more time, because it used to be 5 days.
Okay.
And Brandon made a very good point, you know, that's by the time they
The
get
mail.
it and they think about what they're doing and everything, so 14 days is, I think, a very good number for them, so hopefully they start coming in then.
Good. Yeah, it does seem like the mail's a little slower nowadays than it used to be, so that's a good thing, give them some time. And just so most people are aware, we do not accept credit cards,
Correct.
so it's cash or check only.
Correct.
All right. Any other questions for Billy Joel? All right, you get a pass.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Town of Grand Rapids Annual Fire Report. Yes, sir.
Good evening, board and residents, or resident.
Good evening, Bob.
So yeah, just checking in with you guys. This is our report for 23. This is the same report I give all 3 townships. I'll read it, field any questions, and explain anything you need explained. In 2023, our fire department had a busy year for call volume. We responded to 494 calls for service, with 140 calls for fire service and 354 medical first responder calls. That's a 17 increase in fire calls and an 8% decrease in medical first responder calls from 2022. Please see the attachment to this report for breakdown on fire calls by date, type, township, and staffing. Our staffing remains stable in 23, but we continue to lose our young talented members to full-time departments. We continue to lose a few experienced firefighters a year to retirements and relocations. Recruiting new members is a challenge to say the least, especially those that would live in close proximity to our station. Throughout 2023, our staffing averaged 43 members total for both fire and EMS. In 2023, we held all our normal trainings as well as provided many other outside fire and EMS training opportunities. Some notable training opportunities were, I had 4 more members take ice rescue technician, 3 members completing a 2-day agricultural training, egg rescue training. We did a mock snowmobile accident with our partners from United Emergency Medical Response, Wood County Rescue, and Grand Rapids PD in the Calendar Nights. Our department sponsored an electric vehicle safety and awareness training through EV.org, in which over 100 responders from law enforcement, fire, EMS, and towing and recovery attended to learn about dealing with electric vehicles for accidents and fires. Chiefs Pyatt and Roosh attended the Wisconsin State Fire Chiefs Annual Conference, and in the fall we did a mock hunting tree stand accident out on our town 40. We strive to diversify our training to keep our skill set sharp. In public relations, we continue to host community blood drives with Varsity Wisconsin on a bi-monthly basis with great success. We continue to install smoke detectors in area homes with our partnership with the American Red Cross. Our reflective address sign program is also ongoing, averaging 40-50 signs a year. Our Easter egg hunt was another successful event. We continue to reach out to area schools and preschools with our fire prevention program. Our EMS staff worked the WIA cross-country meet for EMS, and we parked cars for the Central Wisconsin Car Cruise and held the annual firefighter celebration afterwards, and we were well supported by the community. In 23, our department was audited by the Wisconsin Department of Safety and Professional Services. That's our Wisconsin OSHA. This audit is to ensure that the department is complying with SPS 314 and state statutes on operating a department per state guidelines. Attached is the letter of substantial compliance from our March audit. In summary, we strive to deliver the best level of service possible to our community with the resources we have. The trends and forecasts for the future of volunteer fire and EMS departments is certainly an area of concern. Recruitment and retention of staff continues to get increasingly difficult with each passing year. Feel free to contact me with any questions or concerns you might have. Have a safe 2024. Respectfully submitted, Robert Pyatt. So,
I have a question for you, Bob. I've always wondered, how do you guys fight fires with those electronic vehicles now?
well, I alluded to a little bit the other night with the biggest, I mean, in some situations you just let them burn. But it's, as you don't use any foams on a, like typically on a automobile fire, a lot of times you might use Class B foam perhaps, but on a true electric vehicle fire, it's a cooling operation, not an extinguishing operation, because you're not gonna put that battery out. All you can do is cool it till those cells burn themselves out. So, there is situations where, if you look at it across the country, where if nothing's around the vehicle, just babysit it, keep it cool around it. If it is by a structure or whatever, yeah, that it just takes water and lots of it. Everything I've read and studied up, you can figure 6,000 to 8,000 gallons of water to, before you're gonna get that electric vehicle, under control or cooled down. And then even when, like Chris Neiman from Neiman Service built a concrete bunker now, so if he takes even hybrids or electric vehicles now, they go in a concrete bunker in his back storage area now, because he will not put them inside or near other vehicles in case they would reignite.
What about for you guys with the metal and maybe someone in the vehicle?
Well, that's a good point. They're a whole different animal for extrication. Like the Teslas have like a tempered steel roof. There was one accident we studied where a car went off a cliff in California, went 250 feet down into a pile of rocks, and all 4 people walked out of that vehicle because those Tesla roofs are almost indestructible. So you can't use conventional extrication equipment on those. There's only certain spots you can cut on those cars.
Wow.
But inherently they are very safe. They're building the cocoon of those cars, like especially the Teslas anyway, the crazy indestructible. They're a different animal for sure. And that's why I had taken that class. I had taken just my officer corps up to Vesper one night, the North End, held a training, and then I ended up hiring that company and then sponsoring that training myself, because I got so much out of it, and we learned so much about dealing with those cars that are coming, whether you like them or don't like them, they're coming and they're here. So,
Wow.
but yeah, we had over 100 people at that training. We held it out at the Village of Buren.
It's interesting. I often wondered if you got in a head-on crash with one of those battery-operated cars, how does the fire department save you if it's a battery and there's electricity?
Well, we did
and-
purchase a laminated glass cutter. Years ago, all your cars had tempered glass on them.
Yes.
That's where you could use it. I don't know if you ever saw where you use that spike on the
Right.
corner of the window and it
Right.
spiders the whole window. Well, a lot of your newer vehicles, like your Cadillac, your higher-end cars, instead of having tempered glass, they have that laminate glass in them. And
Yes.
there's specialized cutters you can buy. We bought one. And so basically what you end up doing is you end up pounding a hole in the corner of the window, and then you can get in there with that, and you literally have to shear that laminate glass apart versus just cracking it like the old days. So,
Wow.
but I bought that tool. I was at a North Central Chiefs meeting a couple of years ago, and Sugar Camp Fire up by Eagle River had a fire with a guy in a Tesla, and they couldn't get him out of the car, and they watched him burn to death in the car. So I was like, yeah, we better spend the $700 to buy a cutter.
Wow.
So, but we didn't purchase any new vehicles this year. We're still, obviously, in the last few years, we've replaced 3. We replaced the engine, the squad truck, and then my command truck. So that was like $800 and some thousand in vehicles we spent in the last 3 or 4 years. So we're cooling it for now, but we'll probably look at replacing our brush truck next year or the year after. That'd probably be our next vehicle we replace.
I see that you attended 19 fires in Saratoga, and actually some of them were wildland fires. I didn't realize we had any this year so far. Or
Well,
was
that's
it
from 23.
From 23.
We
Oh,
have had some
did.
calls out in Saratoga
Yes.
recently.
Okay.
On that note, while I have you here, does Saratoga have any ordinances on repeated false alarms with people with security systems?
No.
Okay, well, that answers. Grand Rapids, the city, most other places, if you have more than 3 false alarms with a home security system, you can get, the township can start finding because whether it's a law enforcement situation or like we just had a home in Grand Rapids, this guy's, I don't know if this is what's going on with his alarm system, but between the cops and the fire, we've been over there like 4 or 5 times in the last few months. Well, anyways, a lot of townships and municipalities have ordinances that they can, if you have more than 3 false alarms in a year, they can start actually fining you because you're wasting the cops' time and the ambulance's time and the fire truck's time and
And we
So-
pay the cost, yeah.
what's that?
And we pay the cost for you to attend after, yeah.
Well, yeah, you're paying all your contract, but anyways, just a question.
No, but we will definitely check into it.
Okay,
So I got two questions for you.
sure.
What is the sign program?
Oh, I guess that doesn't pertain to Saratoga, but that, we could not get our board in Grand Rapids to, like you guys all have the nice big red reflective signs. My former chief tried for the longest time to get that going in Grand Rapids and the board never
See the
would,
need?
would latch onto it or make it a ordinance or a law or whatever. So we just started selling them on our own and we've got probably 60% of the residents have bought them now.
Oh, okay.
So they're the black and silver ones if you drive through Grand Rapids. Yeah, so every time you see one of those, the resident bought those voluntarily.
Nice.
Nice.
We mandated that they have to buy it when they build a new house or put a structure on their property. But when we got our monies from ARPA, we used it to outfit everybody. And the people
Those
who,
reflective signs are such a,
they're a
when it's
godsend
2
to-
o'clock in the morning and you're
Yeah.
trying to find, especially you get, well, Saratoga and even in a lot of areas of Grand Rapids, you get in those cul-de-sacs and subdivisions,
Yeah.
nobody's got you can't see a light, especially if it's a medical call. I mean,
Yeah.
fire's pretty self-explanatory, but, I mean, but even if it's like, if it's, if the fire's not totally raging yet,
Right.
the
Yeah. you
one in
know,
Pine Haven, I turned off on Ranger Road and I went, yeah, there it is. But anyways, those reflective signs, whether the residents hate them or not, they're a huge help to law enforcement, EMS and fire.
We're
And I
working,
always, our other selling point on those is it helps the Amazon delivery guy too.
there you go, Amazon delivery, everybody. We're trying to figure out how to do them in our mobile home parks right now, or manufactured home
Oh,
parks.
sure.
But we're working on that.
So my other question is, we've got, you went to 8 brush fires, and 7 of them were in Saratoga. Is that an ongoing problem that we have?
Well, you guys have a lot of rural, I mean, you're very, and that goes by year. I mean, that's not, I don't know if I would say that was the norm, I know.
Well, I did just, I mean, I saw a big string of them in a row with Saratoga all next to them, so I counted them up, there's 8. And all but one of them
Oh, sure.
are Saratoga, so.
And I'd say that's a flip of the dice, I mean, that,
Okay, so you're not seeing an impending problem that we need to try to address or something?
No, when you guys are addressing it,
Yeah.
this last couple of years, you guys have made some big strides in trying to become a more fire-safe township, and
Right.
you're working on driveway ordinances, you're working on,
Yep.
I know we had a couple of years ago at that fire, that was actually in Rome's area, but everybody was there. Some of these trails in Saratoga, I mean, getting big trucks back there is
Yeah.
a bear. That Joslin fire we had a couple of years ago,
Oh,
but
that was terrible.
But, the road was super wide to the first house, it was good to the second house, it was okay to the third house. 4, 5, and 6, I mean, that was a cow path. I mean, trying to get big trucks, we were busting branches, and that was a nuts call, and then, obviously, there's nowhere to turn around, then we ended up trapping cop cars in there that night, and that was a disaster, but anyways. But as always, you guys can call me or, email me anytime you got issues.
I just did, about a week ago, I asked for an inspection on a house.
Oh, yes, that house,
Yeah, and,
on my
Bob,
G Trail.
you went right out there, same day, I was impressed.
Yeah,
but
was
we appreciate
just
that.
doing desk work, and I was more than happy to get away from the computer for a while.
Well, every once in a while, we'll get a new business in town and we just don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
they were very cooperative, very, very cooperative, and didn't balk at all, and plus they were way compliant. I think places like businesses of that nature, they have to be that compliant even to get their licensure. The fire inspector's the last person they're worried about seeing usually.
Well, in that particular case, I could find no one that inspected that entity. So I was glad that I could rely on you to tell me
Sure.
what was there. So, yeah, I appreciate it. Anybody else, any other questions?
The calls that say mutual aid, do you know the location of those, or is it?
If you guys want an exact number, because that's, we do auto aid with Nakusa all the time and with Rome. And yeah, some of those mutual aid calls were definitely in Saratoga.
Right.
That's what I was gonna clarify, as you look at that call run data, maybe next year for 24, I could try to clarify that for you a little better. Cause yeah, between,
There were several mutual
yeah, so a
aid.
lot of those, in fact, I could look it up tomorrow and I could email it Paulette, she could distribute it amongst you. I could look up and see how many of those mutual aid calls in 23, were in, which I can guarantee you a pile of them, not all of them. I mean,
Right.
we go to Plover, we go to Buren, we go to Rapids, we go to wherever we're asked, but, we went to Amherst last week, we went to Adams a month ago. Yes, a portion of those mutual aid calls are, I mean, like I said, you guys have that auto,
Right.
well, it's a 5-department response now because the city joined in on it. So every time there's a fire alarm in town of Saratoga, you're getting Rapids, Rome, Nakusa, Port, and Grand Rapids. So
So
the fleet's coming.
you're a volunteer fire department, correct? Or-
Yes, I'm full-time, but the rest of the department's
So,
volunteer paid on call, basically.
do they have to be a resident to be on your volunteer fire department?
No, we
Okay.
go with a radius, and as hard as it is to recruit people, we've even broke the radius lately just to get people on board. I mean, we're maintaining but it just seems like it's,
So they usually go like to Plover or Wisconsin Rapids because of the radius? Or,
No.
You mean when they
I
leave?
mean,
yeah, when they leave?
oh, yeah, when we have some of the people that wanna go on to career departments.
Yeah, go to full-time.
Yeah, we've got, from Grand Rapids, I've got people at Rapids Point, Ashland, Green Bay, Eau Claire, Orange Beach, Alabama,
They move to go to full-time.
yes,
Wow, they relocate.
yes.
Oh. Tells me it's kind of a passion than, more than a job.
Mm-hmm.
Some of those departments are paying quite well for those full-time too, so.
Yeah, if you're like a city firefighter and you're taking any kind of call-ins or overtime, I'm sure you're cracking $100K a year. So, I think right now, if you even have
Putting
Fire
life
One
on
and
the line.
EMT, which is, then you have to get your paramedic and stuff, but I think even, I think Rapids right now is offering like 58 or 60, even if you got Fire One and EMT, but then obviously you have like 12 or 18 months to finish paramedic, and then you get a bump from there, but if you're Fire One, Fire Two, and paramedic, I think you're starting out around 70 grand a year right now. That's without your overtime and your call-ins and
Wow.
so.
We do appreciate everything you do for us, so.
Well, thanks, and like I said, if there's ever any issues, you guys got my cell number, my email, and got my phone on me virtually constantly.
Thank you.
So did you get anything out of that, solar meeting we had?
Yes, I got a lot out of it. Thanks for, that dispelled a lot of the, whenever something like that comes in, like you said, you start hearing stuff and
Yeah.
rumors, and what I liked is that dispelled, like, like as far as those battery storage units, all those alarms or safeguards on those units will be hooked up when they actually hook them up to
Yeah.
the system and make them live. So, I don't know, I thought Allegiant did a good job explaining that, what they were doing, and
Yeah, Alliant was very, very good for us.
Alliant, not Allegiant, sorry.
Yeah, I knew what you meant, but, yeah, they were very good, I thought, explaining stuff. We had a lot of people from Grant, and even counties that weren't even around us that came.
Did they have containment vessels for their batteries?
The batteries are in a containment vessel themselves with a floor that has lips. So it contains some water. I mean, if they start spraying them, it's gonna put water in there, but the water's gonna overflow because of the amount of water that they're spraying. But there's nothing underneath them like concrete. But the way I understand it is there isn't a chemical that's gonna leach. The chemical is gonna dissipate in the air. And if it does leach, if there is anything that leaches, they will do a boring sample all over, and then they'll
Dig it up.
dig everything out that is contaminated.
They're also not gonna be spraying directly on the units that are having problems.
Right.
It's gonna be around to cool the outside units,
Kind of
so.
like his electric cars.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, there's no, as I figured that'd be helpful information that night, there won't be any foam or any outside agents used. It's just gonna be straight water. That's all you,
Right.
with everything I've learned, at least in the
Yeah.
fire service with lithium battery fires, is just straight water. It's a cooling operation, not an extinguishment
The
operation.
only thing that's got some chemical component is their internal, internal system for fire suppression.
Yeah, there's obviously gotta be,
That was
your
not
plastics
a-
in the battery and whatever the core of the battery's made out of, and
Well, but they said there was something that they were spraying, I can't remember what it was, but it didn't sound like it was terribly,
Yeah, they didn't think
Toxic,
it was toxic at all.
you know, so.
And one of the things that I learned was that there are two types of batteries. There's a lithium ion cobalt based, and then the one that they're using is not cobalt based, it's iron based. And the
Lithium
one,
iron phosphate.
yeah, and the one that's iron based is less likely to have any issues. And I was glad to hear that. I was glad to hear that where they placed the battery storage in Saratoga is a mile away from anything except one house. And so, I mean, they did the best they could. I have a good feeling about that, and they've been working with the fire departments for having to treat these. Anything that you guys have an issue with, you're working it out. It seems to be going well. The discussions have been going well.
yeah, Mike Hartshey's done a ton of legwork on that
Yes, he
whole
has.
deal.
Yeah.
Do you know if there's been any movement about that well that was talked about?
He has a containment system. They have been agreeing to a containment system because the high-capacity well wasn't on the table, because they felt it was just not allowed. So in the case of a fire,
Yeah, it
using
was
it
just
only
last
for
week, we
fire.
just talked about this, so I
Right.
don't know what progress has been made since then.
And I was wondering if, it kinda occurred to me after the meeting that maybe if they would even put that just outside the fence, so you just have a little bit of a travel to get there with your tanker, maybe that could be.
Well,
used
you could
on-
run LDH at that point, I mean, that'd be, you could even relay pump, you could tag right from the well, and you could, you know, we all carry a lot of LDH on our trucks, so it's just a matter of getting
But if
quarter or half a mile, we got enough LDH, we can do that.
if they had that just outside the fence there, we could, you could possibly use that well for other structure fires.
That would be terrific.
So I'm wondering if that's something we shouldn't approach them on.
Yeah, Mike's handling that. I told Mike, when it comes to the fire suppression of this battery unit, work with Alliant, or work with whoever is working with there, and what he can't work out there, send back to me and I'll try to work out on my end. So we've been working really well for that part of it. It seems to be going well. Alliant's very receptive to our talks. So, but I think, I did get some feedback from the meeting the day after, and actually in the morning before it was even 8 o'clock. I had two attendees call and say how much they got out of the meeting, and how better they felt now about the progress that they're making in their municipality, and they're not as scared as they were because they got more information, so. And that was the kind of the premise of the whole meeting, was to keep that level of, okay, this is how we gotta go, these are the questions we gotta ask. Oh, this is not so, and just to give that feeling of, I'm in control again. And that helped with the phone calls to me too, so,
Okay.
yeah, I thought it went well. Any other questions for Bob?
Okay, well, thanks.
You're free to go, Bob. Thank you
All right,
very
well,
much
thank
for
you, and-
coming, we appreciate it.
Yeah, do you ever have any, what's that? Oh, ever have any questions or concerns? You guys know how to get a hold of me.
20 minutes to get to your next meeting.
You have another meeting?
Not tonight, no,
Oh, okay.
but there are nights I have multiples.
Thank you.
The sun is shining, you can sit back and have a drink and enjoy a burger.
I like the way you think. Thank you.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Oh, I should have given that.
Opening of the road bids, okay. What did we get here?
Pretty sure we just got the one.
Just the one?
It did go in the paper, advertised twice,
Well, I know it
And
was
I
in the
did
paper,
have
because
the
my
one,
assistant emailed me and said it was there, so.
This is, for chip sealing, 64th Street from Mill Road to Evergreen Road. So it was 22 feet wide and 5,330 feet long, 13,029 square yards. The bid is 22,085. Then from 64th Street from Evergreen Road to Tower Road, it's 5,280 feet long, and again, 22 feet wide, 12,907 square yards. The bid price there was 21,878 and no cents. And then on Bell Road from Highway 73 south to pavement change. The pavement change is where?
It's just
Over
north
the
of the
bridge.
bridge.
Just above the bridge, it gets pretty rough down there, so.
I'm gonna mark that on here, so.
Bell
we-
kinda goes straight and then it comes around and then 10 Mile goes across.
It says 11,520 feet long and 22 feet wide, and that's 28,160. This is from Scott's Construction, and there are some reference sheets here for references and the liability insurance. The question that I have for this, does this include the gravel on the sides of the road?
No, you don't use gravel on it. This is just a top coat. It's a sealing process on the road.
Okay,
They'll spray HFE 1000, or HFE, is it HFE 1000? Is that what you're spraying?
CRS2P is
Yes,
what you told me you
okay.
wanted, so that's what
I
it's
don't
in
know,
spec.
okay, anyway, yes, you want the 2P, you want the polymers. They spray oil and then spray a 3/8.
it
rock
actually
piece.
doesn't say that on here.
These are the bid specs.
Where were those?
Print it out
All
earlier.
right, all right, this is,
So that was a whole bid packet put together so that everything was the same and everything we're looking at. Did you get a copy of that?
Yeah,
This? Okay.
no, I didn't, the bid package, I seen it though.
Okay.
okay.
And as far as that, chip seal, you're not gonna increase that height of that road hardly at all. It won't require shouldering on that.
It's basically a cover to stop the ultraviolet rays from deteriorating your asphalt. It's a-
And this is using the dark
Yep.
yeah.
granite chip seal. This is what we asked for last year, and we didn't get it. These are very small.
It's an FA2. Yeah. Those roads are in pretty good shape though.
Since we only got one bid, do we accept it?
Oh, yeah.
All
What's
right,
the total?
$91,694, and that's for Mill Road to Evergreen, Evergreen to Tower on 64th Street. And then on Bell Road from Highway 73 to the pavement change,
I
which
got
is,
72,123,
So do
unless
I.
if my math is wrong.
72,123 is what I come up with, and we
Okay.
both went
22.
to the same school.
okay, I'm just looking at this, and you guys are wrong, because you forgot to add the 47,731 for Bell Road, because I didn't say it.
Oh. that
I'm
would be-
sorry.
That
That would be my fault, I'm so sorry.
I thought Bell Road was 28,160, it was included with Highway 73 to the pavement change.
Okay, 64th Street, Mill Road to Evergreen is 22,085. 64th Street, Evergreen to Tower is 21,878. And Bell Road, Highway 73 to just before the bridge is 47,731. And that totals, according to the math of Scott Construction, 91,694.
And since this is the company I work for, I will be abstaining, obviously.
Yes, okay. So I guess I need a motion.
Is it correct now?
Well, that was,
Am I-
that last number was a lot bigger than what I have written down.
Oh, sorry, totally
When I
my
was
fault.
writing, I had 70.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Well, I guess since it's the only bid we have, I'm going to make a motion to accept the bid for those 3 portions of road from Scott's Construction.
I'll second it.
Okay, I have a motion by Brian and a second by Josh to accept the bid from Scott's Construction for $91,694 for the portions of road that is on the bid sheet. So 64th Street and Bell Road. And-
Make sure you put in your minutes that Chase abstained too.
Yep, nope, I got that.
All right, and make sure you put in there too that the liability insurance document was included and also the, I guess that's it because everything else is wrote on here. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? Okay. Now, Doug, I'll have to ask, do you think that's a lot higher than what it was last year?
That's actually about 20% lower than we were last year.
Is it?
Yeah, the prices,
Oh, well,
I've
that's
never
good
seen
then.
prices down like they are this year, to be honest.
Oh, that's a good thing then.
You're pretty aggressive on 4 miles. It's,
Well, they're 4 good miles, and
you
straight
need to do
roads,
them though, or
yes.
you'll fall off on them. You initially spent the money on paving. You need to get that seal coat on there 4, 5, 6 years after. A lot of people say they want it in 3 years. Yeah, I'm still, jury's out on that for me.
Minnesota DOT says 2,
Yeah,
5 years is, 4 to 5 years is good.
yeah.
Can I, okay, so we got this all done. Can I ask what's going on Z? Does either of you guys know?
Z down over here?
Yeah, we got a letter from the county saying that they're going to be closing off Z to traffic at
73 to 13.
at 73 to 13. So they're going from what used to be the old Saratoga Grocery, they're going down by Mingles Marsh around the curve. But it's around the curve that I know they were gonna change something because I've heard rumors
That
of
Y
it.
intersection, they're gonna take that and bring that up.
Yeah, but I
They're
think,
gonna-
I seen netting on that old dam that there, so they must be changing that bridge.
Okay,
That, you know where the old, where Sawyer's Marsh is?
yeah.
Yeah,
There's a bridge, they got bird netting on there, so they must be doing a bridge there.
oh, okay.
Well, they're
But-
supposed to be doing Highway Z too, or is that not?
Yeah,
the-
that's in the
That's
future. I talked to Justin Green. They're gonna redesign that intersection we talked about
Yeah.
by the airport, and, I-
So that's in Port Edwards, so how is
no,
that?
that's not in Port Edwards. That's, the road is Wood County's, but
Okay.
the intersection, they're gonna redesign it as part of the project.
Oh, okay.
Basically, they've had some accidents there at that, because
Oh.
people go
Wonder
straight
why.
off there and people are coming in off that
Sure.
corner. And so that what they're gonna do is they're gonna turn, they're gonna take out the 2 legs, and they're gonna turn that so that it comes at a 90 to that corner.
Oh.
So you can't just go straight off that corner.
I don't know if you know Justin Green, he's their engineer tech.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I asked him about that. He says, yeah, heck yeah, he says, I drive that every road and I hate that intersection.
I hate that intersection. I drive it every single day. But if they bring that off at an angle, isn't that gonna have, the visibility gonna be really
I
bad?
wouldn't worry about it, they'll have standards on that they have to meet.
Okay. I mean, because I know Bell is off at an angle down
Yeah.
here and that's a miserable
Yeah,
road.
well, that's probably not standard. All them intersections off 73, when they repave that, or they're gonna repave that, I asked about, they're all at an angle.
Yeah.
I don't like any one of them along 73.
Oh my goodness, that, when we lived there, that was an
Well,
accident waiting to
From
happen.
when I talked to Roland a few months ago, they're gonna take that, so you gotta round the corner there.
Yeah,
It's gonna come in right at a 90, right, going around there.
so they're gonna have to build up the land there.
So they'll have to fill in.
They have so many feet that they'll have to have vision on that.
Okay,
Yeah, and that'll, for the people coming off of that road behind the
Yeah.
airport, that'll actually improve, because they're not trying to look behind them.
right.
And for everybody coming on this road,
Oh,
they're gonna
that's-
have to slow down more than when they just go straight.
So
So
what'll
it should-
happen?
You're not going straight anymore, you're gonna
Well,
have to
right,
make that
because
turn.
you gotta make a turn instead of that straight.
So what'll happen there is if they can't get the vision, they'll maybe slow the speed limit down.
Yeah,
Well, that
that's a
wouldn't hurt anything
miserable,
either there.
Yeah.
You're
So
turning
it'll
on
all
a
match
curve.
when they're done. They wouldn't build it if it wasn't up to
Ouch.
standard or spec.
Is Port Edwards going to repave that road, that mile
I
and a half?
heard something about that too. They were, when I talked to Roland a while back, or I don't know, maybe it was Justin, they
Thanks,
talked
thanks.
about Port Edwards might be in part of that too. I couldn't answer that 100%.
They're getting a price from them, what it's gonna cost. I
They-
wouldn't hold your breath though, because
Right,
Port
they-
Edwards does not want anything to do with that
Right.
road. As far as they're concerned, they'd
Yeah, 'cause
rather.
it's
Except
Yeah,
except
nobody lives
the
there, so.
road funding aid,
Yeah.
the road aid.
It has no tax base.
Well, according to I work with them a little bit, and it seems like they'd give up the road funding if they could just close that down.
Well, I'm sure they would.
They,
I mean,
that's kind of a maintenance nightmare over there for them.
yeah, but it's their road, it is.
Yeah, but it's
Right.
horrible.
But,
Potholes
you know,
galore.
They used to be Highway
So-
13 going through there, and they got concrete.
So should we give wilderness away because it's a nightmare for us?
Be more than happy to. But.
That's where I'm going with that.
Well, right, the problem is there's legal aspects to abandoning a road that
You could
are
do it.
difficult to meet.
There's ways you can do it, but I'm not sure.
Right, well,
Yeah, it is a bad road, there's no doubt about it.
Well, and the problem Port Edwards has with doing it is very few of their residents actually use that road.
Yeah, I know, it's always us.
Well, it's us and it's Nakusa.
Well, it's a shortcut. I mean, for anybody who lives on Church, Ranger,
Right.
even on the highway, it's a shortcut to Rapids the back way.
Yeah, but that's kind of what it's about. You know, you look at Town Line, all the folks that are coming from Plover
Sure.
Point and going to Rapids, they're using our road, or,
Yeah,
you know, it's all, that happens to everybody.
yeah,
I mean, it's just part of the business.
right, right.
I get that, I get what they're talking about, but they've been, I don't know what Road 8 is now a mile, but it's not a lot, but
I think
it's 2,000,
28
25,
something.
3,000 a mile. So they get that every year for 50 years or whatever.
Well, but the calculations for villages are different.
Yeah, it might be.
It's not the same as it is for
No.
towns. They don't get paid by the mile. They get paid by, I'll be honest, I don't know the calculation, but it's a different calculation.
Yeah, they all have different rules, even county trunk systems are a little different. Don't quote me on this, but I think county trunk systems, if you had somebody, a town or village wanted to take your road over, you could give that to them and your road aid would not change. You know, that's just the way which, I don't know if that's right, but that's the way it is.
You know that. I didn't
So
know
they
this.
could give away all the roads and still take the road aid and work on less miles. If somebody wanted them, but that's not gonna happen. We don't want that one.
No. No. All right, informational announcements by board members. Anybody got anything they want to talk about?
I do.
Oh, Brian, wow.
Just one thing, because I have to look online all the time. I see we have our operation, days operation for the metal dump that we have on Z, but we don't have anything at the brush site. I would like to get a sign to say when it's open, especially now that the gate that you can just drive by and see if the gate's there, that gate's gone now. And you have to drive all the way back there to see if the brush dump's open or check before.
So you want a sign by the road?
I would like a sign on Hollywood at the entrance there saying when the brush dump is open and the hours of operation. And then when they do open up, you can just flip the sign that says open.
Okay,
I
I'd
think
actually
that'd be
like
a-
to go further than that, because it's a little unclear what you can dump back there. And,
we could put it on the sign, you mean?
well, it might be a couple signs, but I'd like to see what is allowed to be dumped. I'd like a sign that says that IDs will be checked, because right now it's a little, my daughter just started there, so I sat out there with her for a while she was doing it, and it was a little unclear what they were supposed to be doing. And I don't think our residents know either.
Okay.
So,
No, we do get calls. Okay,
you know, I think it'd be nice if we had signs, more signs for the transfer site that indicate what exactly can be dumped,
okay.
and make sure it says right on there that IDs will be checked, because,
And that's done at the county, right? The county makes those, right? If we request them?
We can have the county will make them, but we gotta pay for them.
Well, yeah, I realize that.
Yeah, but we can get them online,
Oh.
probably.
most of the time they go up to, there's a sign company out of Wausau. I think the county uses them to get their signs, so it'd be, we could either go through the county and get it from them.
County can
or-
make them either way.
I was gonna say, I thought they made them in-house.
Yeah, but these
They
are
do
not,
make them in-house.
Do they make
these
one?
aren't regulatory, I mean, these aren't signs that are regulated by the DOT, so we could have them made
You
anywhere.
can, you're
So-
absolutely
Yeah,
right.
they don't need to.
Okay.
We don't have to
reflective
pay
or
big
anything
bucks
like
to
that.
have them made, we can go on eBay or whatever.
But on that, and that's probably a future agenda item, because
Business from
you know, we even have concrete back there in our brush site. that-
Yeah, they don't dump concrete. I think it's just brush that's supposed to
Yeah,
go back.
that's building
Well,
materials.
that's kinda what I
so-
thought, but I think
There's
there's
a big
still,
pile of,
they're still
The-
using it to dump some concrete in there
Yeah,
too.
There may be, but it's not allowed, and that might be grandfathered, because what did we do with it? I mean, we don't have anywhere to take it either, so I think it's just sitting there from old days.
Well, that's fine, but from
Well-
what I understand, in the past years, they've actually allowed some
Okay,
to be dumped there. So that's why it needs to be clear exactly what.
Yeah.
I will take care of that
take.
I think it
this
would,
week.
as I understood,
You make me
for
note.
years, it's been just brush. And that's why they put somebody back there, because they're dumping anything and everything in there.
Right. Well, and I think we're brush, logs, and stumps.
We'll get clarification in the ordinance
Yeah,
before
they'll
we
grind
put it
them all.
out there.
Do we have an ordinance for that?
Yes, we have a
I didn't even know that.
policy or procedure or
It's just like
whatever.
a
Yes.
info sheet
Yeah.
kind of.
We do.
We do, I know we do, I remember seeing
That
it,
probably
so
needs to be
I'll get
replaced.
clarification and then I'll get some signs made up.
Well, I was gonna bring it up too, so I'm. Yes, but-
All right, so we got some smart minds here all thinking alike. Okay, anything else, Brian?
nope, that's all I wanted to bring up.
Okay.
I
John?
have nothing, I'll yield my time to Chase.
Chase, what would you like to say today?
Not a whole lot. To be honest, I spent the last 3 days at the road school and mine's a little frazzled after long days there, so.
Well, we're glad you're back. We're glad you had some more knowledge to impart upon us.
Well, I wasn't there to learn. I actually had to put on a presentation in it, so. But,
So you were the one that was speaking, huh?
yeah. I
You
had
were
a-
imparting your knowledge.
Had a presentation this morning and the company I work for had a booth and hospitality room there, so. It was long days.
Okay.
All right,
It was long days.
All right, that being said, how about you?
Just back to the road thing, had somebody, ask me about Larry Avenue, there's some potholes on Larry Avenue that are getting pretty big.
Oh, that should be fixed. Is that the ones at the beginning, right by Highway 13?
Down
Oh,
by
farther.
Dakota, I believe they said.
Yeah, I'll talk to them.
Okay. I think Casson, because I had a call from someone from there, but it was right before they went out on Highway 13, right in the middle, and Casson was gonna go that day and fill that one.
I'll just mention to them, if
Okay.
it's done, it's done.
That's just that cold patch.
Yeah, that's all they're putting in.
Yeah,
is,
just-
I know they did get the roller, I know we talked about some of them roads, we had some dips and stuff. I'll talk to them more about that, but I'd like to see them kinda get.
How big are
going.
these potholes in there?
I did not go look.
Okay.
I don't think they're real big.
Well,
but
if
they're
we
there.
start getting some real big ones, we could probably use, instead of the mix at the county is really good patch mix, but you get the big ones and actually a paving cold mix works better to go in and you can roll that in place then. So it might be something we need to look at if not too far on that. But
Anything else, Bob?
Nope, that was it, that was.
Have you been to one of our board meetings before? I'm sorry, I didn't even introduce you. This is Carl Greenway for everybody out there.
Pretty much everybody knows.
He's our newest member here. Welcome,
Well, the board meeting at the town, the end of meeting,
okay,
there was a board meeting right after
Yeah.
that, so
yeah,
glad to be here. I
good.
think.
Yeah, it's a good crew. We'll get things done. All right, as far as I'm concerned, we had the meeting, I think we talked about that a little bit. We had a meeting, informational meeting for our neighbors, and we invited Alliant, our solar attorney out of Madison, I believe. Is that where Larry's from?
Madison area, Dane County, yes.
Yeah, and then